We forget that money makes us puppet. If you have no money, there is no dignity of yours in the society. The theme of fulfillment. See here, very important. She takes a decision and says that I will fulfill all that is needed to be a good parent. He loses nothing other than his beloved. He gets into that enlightened world to help the needy. Hello everyone. Life is very uncertain, but what remains intact is only education. Education is the mightiest weapon to fight all the odds of ignorance. Taking away all the aspects of life, here's Vidyashram, keeping you enlightened and educated in the tough times of your pandemic days. So once again, here is a thematic representation of poetry which starts and ends with the session 1. We have studied all the notions, we have studied everything that is amalgamated from the videos till the question and answers and getting with touch with the thematic representation simultaneously. To understand any poem, the titular expression plays a pivotal role in understanding those. So it's only through a title that you can understand the significance of poetry. So that's the technique that we normally bestow on your education, and that's the slightest way of understanding and writing etiquette also. So what is that for you today? That's theme of definition. So defining the theme, it's an idea that recurs in the sense which comes over and over again. In or pervades a work, pervades which instigates or which throws a bright picture or a clear picture of a work of art or literature. Theme is a frame wherein you will fit your thoughts and ideas pertaining to art and literature. So simultaneously, you will have something very objectifying this. Themes are the fundamental, very significant and often universal which is known to all. You can have your own perception on a title. That's what it says as the titular expression. Titular, the expression of a title is known as a titular expression. Ideas explode in a literary work. When I say literary work, we are talking about literature in particular. It can be art also. Right away, it's only based on your examination and writing etiquettes. So what is that you have? The first poem to start with, The Schoolboy. Watch the videos, get into Q&A session so that it becomes easy for you to understand. The Schoolboy, as I have been asserting incessantly, one picture is equal to 1,000 words, and you can see the difference that you find here. Here you are connected with the nature, and here the concrete way of education. You can see the smile and happiness, and here agony and dismay. The boy is reluctant to go to school because the boy thinks that we can find the best education in nature. So what do you prefer? Don't you want to go back to the days like this, or would you prefer this? The answer is very tough because we also want to nurture in nature as well as we have to be educated. So balancing two mind thoughts are very difficult. So it says the theme, the nature and vulnerability of innocence. What is the meaning of nature? Nature can be the serenity out or the nature within you. And vulnerability in the sense the unprotected. Vulnerable, unprotected. The innocence in a child is unprotected. So the theme is the unprotected childhood, wherein a child wants to play in nature. He wants to be amidst the nature, but he is compelled to go to schools, and that's what we say as vulnerability, unprotected. Next, snares, confinement. What is the meaning of snares? Dismay. Snare, wherein you're reluctant but still you're ought to go so. So that's what we mean as snares. And confinement, jailed. So the boy thinks that going to school keeps him in captivity. He's captivated, he's entrapped by teachers and parents. Though he is reluctant, he wants to be in nature. He wants to enjoy amidst birds and animals. Yet he comes to school, and that's what we know as confinement. He thinks that he is jailed. So that's confinement. In confinement while you are entrapped. Next, parental care and authority. Here you can find the antonym, sarcasm also. You have care and also you have authority. Along with the care of a parent, there comes an authority wherein you are ought to, you are compelled. You are a puppet in hands of your parents as well as your teacher. So along with love comes authority, and that's where you're skeptical about. That's where you would say complete no. Nature and its pleasant education. When I say nature, nature is the best teacher and also its pleasant education. Nature is only a teacher wherein it is unbiased. Teachers can be, parents can be biased, but nature is very unbiased. So he says that I want to dwell amidst the nature. Rather going under the surveillance of a stricter Hitleric teacher, I prefer to be amidst nature. Next, the compulsion in formal education. What is the main motto of education? To keep you creative, to elevate you with creativity. But once we are imposing our ideas, where is your creativity? Creativity should nurture amidst nature. And that's what it says as compulsion. This is not happiness. Compulsion can never be happiness. The schoolboy is reluctant to take all the objections from a teacher and his parents. But the societal norms act so. Without education, you stand nowhere. Bitten pieces of education will completely ruin your career. And what is your future? Can nature give you money? It's only through education that you have to elevate your future, succeed, and then go to a post wherein it says that live your livelihood. Nature can support you, but the boy is ignorant about the fact because he is still very young. So that's the theme. This would suffice your answer and also understanding. It can change also. It need not to be the same. You can thematically represent the way you want. Get away with my perception. Get away with the poet's perception. Amalgamating poets and my perception, think about yours. That's what the beauty of theme lies. Next, money madness. And again, I'd want you to see the picture. Your favorite might be fictional character, nothing of such. It's a disclaimer stating to show you the importance of money. Human beings connected with that of money. The pleasure that he finds amidst money or having a money. But we forget that money makes us puppet. We are puppet in the hands of money. Otherwise, it's true. What is the first point? The power and indignity. Along with power, if you are powerful, it's only because of money. And money can give you power and also indignity. If you have no money, there is no dignity of yours in the society. So if you have money, you are very powerful. If you have no money, you have to eat dirt. So alongside, indignity and power are the two faces of the same coin. But choose wisely where you stand. Along with power comes indignity. If you have power, it's fine. If you don't have money, it is indignity in the sense that the society will stop respecting you. There is no dignity if there is no money. Money and mankind. M and M. The way M and M starts chronologically, it ends with Y and D. Very different from each other in the sense that they are contradict to each other. Money and man cannot go hand in hand. Not everyone are privileged. Not everybody are privileged to money. There are people who found fortune out of money and there are people who succumb to money. But yet money makes us slave. We are enslaved. So here is money and mankind. When I say mankind, I am talking about the progress of man as a human being. What is that he has done to the society? He is very rich, but what is the contribution that he is doing to the society? It's a question. Next, suppression and deprivation. When I say suppression, the poor are always suppressed because they have no money. And deprivation, the deprived without money. So this is also one of the theme. If you have money, you are powerful. If you have no money, there is no dignity or indignity. Indignity is related to this. Next, money versus poverty. Money versus poverty. Who wins? It's money who wins over poverty. In the other way around, money snubs the poor. If you have no money, you eat dirt. You go without clothes, you go without shelter, you go without bread. There is no morsel of rice, there is no loaf of bread to eat. You will die because you are indignified, you have no money. If you have money, you are powerful. If you are powerful, you are known to the society. If you are known to the society, you are respected. If you are respected, you are held in the highest stature. You have no money, disrespect in the society. Disrespect in the society, you're not suitable to live in the society. Not suitable, eat dirt. Eat dirt or die. That's the formation that we make. Everything is set. Money enslaves human being. Next, superiority versus inferiority. That's what it is. Superiority is money. Poverty is inferior. So every theme is interlinked. Everything is juxtaposed, though they stand aloof, but they come together in the meaning. There is a triangular representation. When I talk about triangular representation, where it starts, the 3 points, the meeting points, everything is money, money and money. What is here? It is void. It is zero. Human being is known, or man is identified only in terms of money. You're rich, you're known to all. Rich versus poor. Again, superiority versus inferiority. Again, the triangular representation. Money, money and money. Superiority, inferiority, money. Rich, poor, money. And again, we were talking about suppression, deprivation, money. Seen this? We'll see the last also. Death and redemption. What is death? You know the meaning of death. What is redemption? Have you seen the Christ the Redeemer, which is reborn? So here, death indicates the poor. Redemption refers to money. Human beings die, but money is intact. Money is eternal. Only because the more you spend, the more you want, you will die, but what remains intact is only the lust for money. So these quintessential points, which are interlinked with each other, would suffice you. And this takes me to the other poem, If I Was a Tree. We see so much of discrepancy or disparity between human beings. Superiority, inferiority, upper class, lower class, I am Brahmin, you're a Kshatriya, he is a Shudra, he is a Vaishya. What's all this? So what if a tree would have been so much, and the tree thinks that if I would have been the one who's turning out to be a Dalit, how would that be a difference? Because as a human being, if I belong to a downtrodden class, I cannot touch few. Or if I surpass the hurdles and reach the pinnacle, people are biased. Somebody keep me taboo. Somebody say that you will defile me. But as a tree, there would have been no bias at all. Because as a tree, if I was a Dalit, the nature wouldn't be biased. The bird would still come and sit on me. It wouldn't say that you're a Dalit, I don't want to touch you. And there is no taboo in nature. So that's what you have to understand. Love and hatred. The opposite of love is hate. And the theme also replicates love and hatred. The theme is love. As a human beings, we fail. As a tree, there is love. Hatred. There is hatred in human beings, but there is no hatred in trees. That's what it is, the two opposites. Next, nature and man. If you want to choose one among those, we would choose nature, because nature is the womb and very unbiased. Man, born cruel, live cruel and die cruel, use for nothing or good for nothing. Next, expectations versus reality. What do we expect being born as a man? We expect that everything should be in a place. Everything should be so very unbiased. We all get proper respect in the society, equality, secularism, democratic, what not. But what is real? What is the reality? We face so much of chaos in the society. We face so much of riot in the society. Man is born with an equal sense of humor or equal sense of mankind that we have to live alongside everyone. We are born equally. Our blood is red, of course. We all have natural ingredients filled by nature. So how is that we stand different from each other? Why do we have to keep few people aloof and take few into consideration? So don't you think that man is biased? So one would choose anything to this. So we would want expected as that of nature. Hope and despair. We all think that we only studied the disparity of religion or caste in a social science textbook, in history textbook. Let begone be begone. But did we ever realize that that's what's happening in the present society? We term society, what is the meaning of society? Where everybody comes together to live together. But it's not the same. There are people who is stuck outside the society. They aren't getting green card to come to the society where they belong to. It's just like you are put out of your own house. They are put out of their own society. So that's where it says hope and despair. We cannot hope at all. Even though we are hopeful, sometimes it is of despair. The agony still exists. Last point, agony and resentment. What is the meaning of agony? It's not agony, it is agony. Agony. Agony is pain. Resentment is anger. Who is in pain? The downtrodden is in pain. The lower class is in pain. Anger, the superiority complex of the superior people, and that's what we call as resentment. Why so much of hatred? Why so much of disparity? Why so much of inequality? It's only that I can scream, it's only that I can wail for justice, but did justice prevail? We have to just note no, no and no. Next, I'm taking this to the other poem, The Farmer's Wife. A poignant poem. We can see the suffering of a widow whose husband chose a very cowardly step, an act of cowardice, and that's suicide. And what is the theme? The illustration marks it for you. So the theme reads this: agony, I told you, pain, frustration of losing a husband. What will she do? And challenges. She will face challenges. Agony for losing her husband, frustration, thinking about the coward act or cowardly act of her husband of suicide, and challenges, to face all the challenges to fulfill the promises that she had made to her children. Next, the stereotypical society. Nothing to speak about it. We live in the society where they are good to you at your face and at your back they stab you. So this is nothing much new to you. We all have faced the same, but still we constitute society. It's you and me who constitute society. So that's why we term it as stereotypical society, which can never be changed. There was a child marriage. Much of the initiations were taken. Still it prevails. The child marriage still prevails. In many of the places, there is no widow remarriage. There is still sati in progress. So what are we doing? The society never changed. What is society? Society is nothing but constitution of people. So where are the rights? We talk about democratic world. We talk about globe, a global change. We aren't getting a change in our own vicinity. We are thinking about globe. So that's a sarcasm. And we are talking about the stereotypical society, a very biased society, awkward society, wherein there is no respect to a woman. And this society leads to the quintessential point, and that is battle against depression. The word depression is much talked about. What is depression? Only because we aren't in depression, we can't stoop to that level to think that they aren't. We have to have a soft corner because we can't get into that mold. Thank God we are not, but yes, let's help few to come out of depression. And this depression, the modern generation that we are talking about, it's not new to any. It's been a century's agony also. So here, the farmer who lost all the cotton pods, out of all strife, he would have worked hard. He would have toiled day and night. And he lost everything. And he was into depression, or he is into depression. And he chose a drastic step of suicide. And according to the farmer's wife, that was an act of cowardice. Well, he can take this brave act, so he thinks he could have lived his life. And that's what we term as battle against depression. Next, Theme of suicide. Along with this, it goes hand by hand. Theme of suicide. When we talk about suicide, it's not a small word. Here you lose life. We are gone. The one who is dead is gone. What about the one who is still surviving without their help? And we are particularly talking about the farmer's wife, who is sole in the society, that bad world. We don't know what is her situation tomorrow. How will she raise her children? Theme of empowerment. Be it whatever, what may come or what may not, she is empowered. We are not talking about feminism, we are talking about empowered women. There is much difference between a feminist and empowered woman. And we are talking about that farmer's wife who is empowered, who has taken the challenge to show that yes, I can live. I'm very familiar in leading life because I am the one who bore my children. You're gone. You crossed your leg. You took a cowardly decision and you are gone. Now, I will take up this life challenge. I cannot die like you is what she says. And that's where the theme of empowerment. You forget anything out of this, I'd want you to remember. There was a joke. I want you to jot down all these points such. Next. Again following it, commitments and duties. What is her commitment? To pay the creditors. What are her duties? To look after her children. Helplessness and despair. She has decided, I'll do whatever possible, but how? She is very helpless. How would that be, a single woman or a single parent looking after her children without any masculine power? And she states that, I will not die like you because I need to think about my crop. You only thought about that crop which can be re-yielded tomorrow. But my crop, that's in my womb. I bore them from my womb, my children. How can I do that? So here, she has all the problems. But what is the solution? We don't know. The theme of fulfillment. See here, very important. She takes a decision and says that I will fulfill all that is needed to be a good parent. You crossed your leg. You took up this decision. You're gone. That's done and dusted. Now it is my fate and funeral to check into my life so that I can pay the creditors. I don't know what do I do. I really don't know how the society treats me tomorrow. But I'm the one to take all the challenges and I will fulfill my commitments. Next, promise and betrayal. Whose promise are we talking about? We are talking about the promise of the farmer's wife, and betrayal about farmer himself. He failed as a father, he failed as a husband. But here is a woman who won, who triumphed over all the odds only to take an empowering solution to her problems. And that's The Farmer's Wife for you by Olga. Next, an old woman. You can see the picture. We are talking about the self-respect also here. The old woman is as old as the Indian heritage culture or heritage centers. So what is the first point in notion? It is the old woman and the heritage. An old woman is compared to that of the heritage. Indian Heritage Center dates back to centuries that we could fathom about. Here is an old woman who have lived in the same heritage centers anybody can reckon about. In the same way, she is very familiar to that heritage centers. Go back to the videos to check what is it all about. Next, the theme of self-respect. As you remember, I have been describing you how she drags the tourist across her collared hand. She holds their collar and drags them to a tourist place or the tourist spot, that is Horseshoe Shrine. That was a historical place to remember, and she says that give me 50 paisa. You don't have to give me in vain. You don't have to say that I'm lazy, I'm working, I'm limping yet, I'm very old. And also she holds that audacity to say that what I say is right, you come with me, and she drags them with their collars in. And somebody has to give her the money for the work she does. She isn't sitting lame or in fatigue. She is as old as the heritage center. She can't even walk. She's shabby and with no ideology or knowledge of what's going around. She is oblivious, but yet she wants something. And what is that? She wants only 50 paisa. That's only for her self-respect. She isn't begging. She's working for that money. And begging has much to do with self-respect also. Life, consciousness and existence. Whose life are we talking about? We are talking about the old woman who is still living. Consciousness. What is the title for consciousness? What is that consciousness? The consciousness of self-respect and existence. With these two, she exists. Self-respect is a main object, and that's the objective of existence. Next, catastrophe or catastrophe. You can see there is a description: hills crack, sky fall, temple cracks. It means that the heritage center or something is there that's calling for a doomsday. Or you can say that there is nobody to look after the old woman. Last, realization and acceptance. If you reckon, this is again the term from the foot of its child to the foot from its child also, and even in on children also, you have something of such. Here, the realization, who realizes? The speaker realizes, or the tourist realizes. What does he realize? That what she is doing is right. We have to give her 50 paisa, and also I have gone, or I have stooped down to the level where she raised herself. She's working for her self-respect, and he gives away the paisa to her. And acceptance of reality. Next. So you have the last of the topic to discuss, Do Not Ask of Me, My Love by Faiz Ahmed Faiz. How is it related? If it is a love poem, how is it related to the illustration? You can see malnourished children. They are poor, poverty struck, uneducated, illiterate, and nothing to eat in their closet. And also their cashier says that they are outworn. Their clothes are outworn. There are few who did not wear even clothes also. So that's the pathetic condition of children in many of the places. So here is the poet, or here is the speaker who chose the destitute of the world to love. He says that I love you. He's actually confessing something to his beloved. But I cannot be with you because there is world that is calling out loud for me, and I need to help them. They seek help from me. So I can't concentrate while I am with you. In simple, to put it up. Go back to my videos for better understanding. So what is the theme? Loss and sorrow. Which one will he choose? He will choose sorrow. He loses nothing other than his beloved. He gets into that enlightened world to help the needy. So that is sorrow. And next, failure and triumph. What does he feel when he goes out of his love life to the world of needy? He thinks that he won, and that is triumph. He finds victory, shedding all his worldly happiness or worldly knowledge. He goes out to that of the uncomfort zone, from his comfort zone or out of the box, and he says that I will serve the needy, I'll help them. People need me, just like Lord Buddha, who abandoned or who sacrificed every luxury or the luxury of life and goes out to that world of enlightenment to help the needy. Next, theme of revolution. What is the meaning of revolution? To bring a new change. So he says that you are still beautiful. Don't think that my love wasn't loyal to you. I am still fidel to you. There is a fidelity in my love. I am very loyal. There's loyalty in my love. But I cannot accept the way it is. I choose the needy to my love, and that's you. So he says that revolution was much needed. There is something in the quest. Revolution is nothing but the change, or he is in quest for a change. Next, existence and death. Whose existence are we talking about? We are talking about the existence of his beloved. And whose death are we talking about? The needy. So he chose death in the sense that he wants to help the needy. Next, utopia and dystopia. The opposite of utopia is dystopia or dystopia. Utopia, where everything seems to be very in happy, merry-go-lucky, or just like heaven. Dystopia, where there is chaos, there are riots, there are violence and whatnot. That's a world of dystopia. Something very relevant or synopsizing hell. Utopia, where everything is such like a heaven. So he chose the world of dystopia. While he was in love, he felt that he was in a world of utopia. But no, he wants to choose dystopia. And that's what is stored for you in my cache. Here is thematic representation showing all the way to understand. Here's Vidyashram for you also. Just one touch away to know more. Stay educated. See you.